There we go. And Rebecca, I will let you take it over.
Great. Thank you, Gretchen. And hello, everyone. We're excited to have you here. My name is Rebecca Bierhoff-Kiss, and I am the Director of Strategic Engagement at Serve Ohio, which is Ohio's Commission on Service and Volunteerism. And I am also an Alive board member, new board member this year. And so I'm really excited about Alive and all of the wonderful things that Alive has to offer. And I am also super excited about our presentation today and our presenters. I think that we're all going to learn a lot about how we can create our own career adventures. So I'm really looking forward to the presentation today. So a couple of things before I pass the baton over to our presenters. I'm just going to go over a couple of housekeeping items, and then I will introduce our wonderful presenters. They will present their presentation, and there will be questions and answers at the end. So if you have questions, you can either type them in the chat box during the presentation, or they will have some time to get to those at the end. And please do stick around to the end, because we do have a couple of announcements that we will make about Alive as well. So general housekeeping items. Use the chat box. As always, we want this to be engaging and to have the engagement of our participants. So please do ask questions or provide examples in the chat box. Engagement is key. Make sure to keep yourself on mute throughout so that we don't hear a lot of background noise. And I did want to note that Alive members will receive a recording of this presentation as well as the slides in the coming days. It's always a question, and so everyone will receive access to this. And those who are not Alive members, you will get some information in the coming days about becoming an Alive member and all of the wonderful things that you can have access to by being engaged with Alive. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our speakers and turn it over to them. So we are super privileged to have Angela Williamson, who is the Volunteer and Community Relations Specialist at the Blood Bank of Delmarva. And we have Carrie Hart, who is the Manager of Volunteer Services at Bay Health Medical Center. They are both coming to us from the great state of Delaware. And these two have known each other for over 15 years. They are both CVAs. They're both Alive Impact Award winners. So they have lots in common and lots of chemistry to be able to give us a great presentation today. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Angela and Carrie. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rebecca.
All right. Thank you so much. We are just so excited to be coming to you from Delaware. So good afternoon our time, and hope you are all having a great day. So who's ready for an adventure? Okay. I hope everybody, right? That's why you're here. So as introduced, Carrie Hart and I have known each other for a long time. Carrie's been in the field for over 20 years and volunteer services at Bay Health Medical Center Hospital. And I am at the Blood Bank of Delmarva now, and I've been in the field for about 15. So we're really excited. We've served together on our local Delaware Association of Volunteer Administrators, and had some great times, and we've just a good friendship going as well. So we're glad that you're with us, and we have some good synergy between the two of us, I think. So a poll. So Gretchen's going to put this up here. We are just curious. How long have you been in the field? So are you 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 plus? What does that look like for you? So we're gonna put that on there.
People are like immediately started voting. So wow,
yay!
Everyone's had
great.
And
you're on it.
Yes, I'm going to keep this open for just a few more seconds. We're already at 91% participation, so clearly people are ready to go. 94%. Woo! I'm going to end the poll and show the results.
So we're excited. Good, 11 plus, but we got 0 to 5. Good. Well, welcome 0 to 5ers. Welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you are with us in our 6 to 10s too. I think that with Carrie and I being in that 15 plus, this will be great for, we hope, anybody at all levels from just beginners. We hope that this is going to give you a lot of great information to get started, as well as anybody else that's sort of where we are in our journey as well. One of the things that I've been really guilty about is having my email up and other things going on at the same time while trying to watch a presentation. Anybody else guilty of that? I am. I've been guilty. I'm so sorry. So we are really encouraging you to close all of the other windows. Go close your door. Grab a snack. You deserve this. You need this, and you really, as long as there's not like literally fire in your hallway, please just take this hour, 60 minutes, 55 minutes, whatever, to just be here. We would love that. So have you ever done box breathing? So it's like the same amount of time in, hold it, and then out. And so we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to do a 4. So you're going to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, and then out for 4. Does everybody feel better now already? You can do that again on your own if you need to, just to kind of center yourself. Okay, doing good? All right, so we really created a lot of lists, a lot of resources, a lot of things, hopefully, that you can be able to take and use. You can take notes, but don't get overwhelmed. All right, so that's another thing that we don't want you to be overwhelmed. But check your battery. So you can put this in the chat. Are you feeling great? Woo, top of the world right now. I got all the energy. Are you feeling good? Like, it's okay. Or are you okay? Or are you like, meh, meh? Or are you like really struggling today? Or is it that like, I'm barely here, I'm on empty, and I crawled my way to this presentation. So where are you at on that? We hope that somewhere we'll be able to help you no matter where you are on this little battery chart. So again, don't get overwhelmed. And I sometimes have felt, so you feel we're all kind of, I'm glad nobody's completely empty. I'm seeing the poll results. Nobody's completely empty. We're kind of all over the place, not surprising. We are all over the place. Probably each day and each minute might change your answer. And so we appreciate you putting that in there. So we'll try to help you no matter where you are, but don't get overwhelmed. And so we're gonna have a lot of stuff in here. Write 1 or 2 things down, or write down things. You will get a copy of this. You will get a copy of our resources and lists and things like that. And at the end, you'll have time to just sort of figure out like what works for you. All right, so don't get overwhelmed. It's nothing you're gonna do is gonna be wrong. So with that, I'm gonna pivot over to Carrie. You're on mute.
It would not be a presentation or a Zoom call if I didn't do that at least once. So if you're my age, you probably recognize this little GIF a little bit. We are pivoting, and we've been pivoting for about 3 years now. So we do like to have a little interaction. So raise your hand, applaud, clap, whatever, put something in the chat box if you're like, yes, I am over the pivot. I want to go back to my normal life and my normal role. And this is kind of where we started from. Is anyone normal? I love the comments. Master pivoter, gold star. Thank you guys. You're raising our energy level as we're presenting. So about 4 months ago, Angela and I were talking, and yes, Lisa, this crazy is never ending. We were talking, and we were both a little drained and wondering, how are we going to reset ourselves? How should we regroup and move forward in our jobs, in our lives? We've been doing this for a couple decades now, a little long time. And we thought that this presentation would be a great way for us to reset our own batteries. Yes, put the couch down. Doesn't it feel like you're carrying a couch on your shoulders? So we thought this presentation would be a good way for us not only to help our colleagues reset, but ourselves as well. So next slide. And this is one of those reasons that we all need to put that couch down. I think that should be our new like slogan to each other when we're stressing out, just put the couch down. You know, all of our friends think we are just la-di-da, just woohoo. You know, your parents think you're a boss when we know we have no power. Our volunteers think we have power, but we don't. Our colleagues think we have the easiest jobs in the world. But I would argue we have one of the toughest jobs in the world because we have to engage and keep people engaged with no pay, no incentives in any way other than a thank you. So I think we have a lot tougher job than maybe our colleagues think. Oh, Rose, of course, Rose. And of course, we all think we're super women and men because we have 15 different hats that we're wearing at any given time. And then I don't know about you guys, but I can definitely relate to being drowned out by paper and emails and to-do lists on a daily basis. So all of these things are what are sucking our energy and our enthusiasm at times for our jobs, because we have to be so many different things to so many different people, and we're all burned out. And Carol, tell your mom to call me. You got a real job. So next slide. Another little fun one for you guys. This is your moment to check yourself, to realize we cannot do everything and be everything for everyone. And I say this as I'm homesick, or I'm home with a sick kid and a dog's licking my ankles, and I'm trying to be professional, and it's definitely not coming off of that right now. So we want to make sure that we're true to ourselves, our jobs, and what we're here for. So please, oh, thank you, Gretchen. So we want to make sure that we're here, that we're present, and we are trying to engage and build up our batteries. So next slide.
And the other thing too, we will have some resources. The State of Mental Health in America has some great information as well. And we have a book called by Emily Lee, has also some great resources called Growing Bold. And one of the things, a quote that we have is 80% of success kudos come from 20% of your work. So we need to be strategic about where we do that.
Mm-hmm. So in preparing for checking in with yourself and seeing what your goals are for this year to make that 20% of your work that gets recognized even better, think about something you struggle with, whether that be something personally, professionally. I know a lot of us struggle, myself included, with boundaries, saying no. We always want to say, yeah, we can do that. We can get volunteers there. We can be on that committee. And we over schedule ourselves. So think of something that you want to improve. Imposter syndrome. Oh, we are so talking about that. And we're going to kind of, as we go through this presentation, keep revisiting that struggle and what you want to improve, and see if you can take some of the pieces of what we're speaking about and put those towards your goal. Yes, standing up for myself. Love it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in the chat. This is great. Thanks, you guys. Keep on putting it in there. That's great.
Career Path is another good one for us to talk about, those little steps that you're going to be going forward. And this is why. Does anybody know who this is? Come on. Someone's read this book. It's at the bottom of the slide. Well, it's from Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is one of my, thank you, Heather. This is one of my favorite visual aids for remembering it doesn't have to be 100% every day. If we just gave 1% solidly every day, those gains in a year is 37.78% better. So when you're thinking of those goals of trying to move forward in your career, of setting a boundary, of saying no. You just need that 1% every day to make an incredible gain over a year. So that's why we wanted to do this in January, to give all of us the opportunity to set those goals, to think about that 1% that we want to improve every day and get there. So if we revisit this next January, we can all say we improved, we did this, we worked together, and we went for a common goal. So thank you for coming here and setting those goals with us. So this is the first goal that I think we need to talk about. As someone said earlier, imposter syndrome is a thing. Some of us don't know, do we have a real job? We have a real job, right? We do. No one knows what it is because it's a Chandler Bing job, for another friend's reference, but we have real jobs and we need to advocate for ourselves. So this is the first thing we're going to talk about today. What is something that you can do to advocate for yourself in your job? Lisa, I know you have the mouth to advocate for yourself. You can do it. Has anybody advocated data? That's one way to advocate for yourself. Who's advocated for themselves recently? It's getting to be budget time. So we want to, good job, Leah. So we want to advocate for ourselves, for our budgets, the data for that annual report, to keep us in the front of people's minds, to celebrate your successes out loud. Absolutely.
If I can drop in the drip campaign concept. So in marketing, there's something really called drip campaign. And it's something that I didn't realize that's what it was, but I was just doing it. So I started asking our marketing person, I said, hey, can you start taking photos of the volunteers while you're taking pictures of donors, because we're at the blood bank. So there's tons of pictures of donors giving blood, right? And I'm like, well, can you add volunteers so that I could use some photos? And so then that started one thing. And then I was like, okay, well, can we get some in the newsletter? And then can we, photos in the newsletter? And then, well, can we do a highlight on a volunteer in a newsletter? I just started asking questions all the time. And then I, at one point, got passive aggressive and said, and don't forget the volunteer poster. And I created literally a poster, and I've done this in my other presentation that I've done before. But it says, and the volunteers, and I have pictures of the volunteers, and I'm like, don't make the volunteers sad, basically. And so anyway, it was kind of passive aggressive, probably not recommended, but anyhow, find your own way that works best for you, or whatever works best. So there's lots of different things. And then what Carrie said, data, I just started making my own annual report. And this was like 2 years ago, and I just find numbers, any kind of numbers you can start putting together. And again, start small, start little, and just do something that you can handle whatever time. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is what is it that you can handle at this moment? And it might be tiny, but just start with something. So another thing too is lean on me. We all need a friend, right? So I just encourage you, if you don't already, join your local AVA, or if you're not a member of Alive, join Alive, or any other group of volunteer leaders that are in your area or anywhere, because now we all have social media and you can join people from all over the place, England and Australia and Canada and all over the US and all over the world. So find people that support you. I just had to lean on some friends this past week. Had dinner with one. Carrie and I have been chatting, and I was having kind of a rough week last week myself. And so find friends within the field. So it's definitely, you're not alone, and we're here for you and with you. And you don't always have to be the strong one. You can't be always the strong one. So another book that I'm reading is Essentialism and Effortless, 2 different books, and highly recommend them, about picking the most important things. And that's something we're going to talk about, that I struggle with. And Carrie's much better at this than I am.
I don't know about
think.
that. It might be, it's a low bar. So, for this, it's okay to say no. This is, again, one of my goals for this year. Again, raise your hand in the chat box, whatever, just nodding at home or in your office. How many times has someone said, oh, I need a volunteer to stand by a door for 3 hours tomorrow? And you have to say, no, that is not proper use of a volunteer. Or I need help with this committee, or I need help with this event, but it's tomorrow and I need this special set of traits in a volunteer, and you have to train them. And it's overwhelming. So yes, Elizabeth, you have a sticky note reminding us, like, you can post this, print this out. No is a complete sentence. It's okay to say no. So think of something on your schedule, whether it's right now, or if you want to think about this as you're going through your week, of something you can say no to that's on your calendar. What is that meeting that you really don't need to attend, but you said yes to it, but you're busy? Say no. Say no. Take a minute for yourself. Rework your values, your goals, what your strategic plan is for your department or for yourself, and reframe this year and say no.
I gotta let Shelly, I love what you're doing with that. Hold on, open the desk drawer. None in here. Sorry. I love that.
Yeah, we all
It's the
think, they
magic
all
shelf,
think there's
right?
like a little shelf, and we have volunteers and you just sprinkle water on them. And yeah, you have to say no to that committee, to that volunteer ask, reframe it. You are just as important. Your volunteers are just as important as any other person in your company.
Yep,
Snarkiness
yep.
is okay, Shelly. Go for it.
All good stuff. Another thing that we, in thinking about this and looking around, we were finding that happy people are content with missing out. I hate that. I have the FOMO, right? Does anybody else have FOMO? I hope you're better at this than I am, but the whole FOMO thing, fear of missing out. But it's okay to miss out. And then it's like, wow, really? Oh, really? Like on our slide, oh, really? That's hard for me. So it's something that I am working on in my own self. And they also, happy people who believe in impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Happy people have their own back, right? So you got to take care of you. We did have a picture and we kind of replaced it with one of our other slides, but we had a picture, when you're on the plane, and then they're like, and here's the exits, and here's the da-da-da, and don't forget the oxygen mask, and you got to put it on, and you got to put it on who first? Yourself first. So you got to put it on yourself first. So get your own oxygen mask on first. And then you're never going to be happy all of the time. So you will have negative feelings. Just share those and get those out, and have a positive person that's going to be like, help you just get it out and refocus, and let's move back on to happiness, right? And positivity. So the first time, and actually, I think it was Carrie that helped me with this. I put, for this week, I was out of the office for 3 days at a big blood bank or blood drive and just whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put an out of office email. And so I did. And it says, thank you for your email. I'm experiencing a large backlog of emails, which was true, and working on a presentation for an International Leaders of Volunteer Administrators audience. Oh, that's you. Thank you for your patience. I'll return emails as soon as possible. And you know what? I was like, oh, my boss. And I've been emailing my boss, and I thought, oh, she's going to say something. Not a peep, not a word. Oh my gosh. Nobody has been back to me and being like, oh, I can't believe you said that. So just try it once. It might work, right? So yeah, give that a shot. Another thing too, about April of 2021, about a year into the whole COVID crazy, COVID hit so many people in so many places so differently, right? So some volunteer leaders were let go. Some were all of a sudden had nobody to work with, or completely pivoted, as we've seen earlier, or it got overloaded. And so in the blood bank, we only had 10 weeks without volunteers. And then I jumped right in, and I was processing 40 new volunteers every month because nobody else was open and we were accepting volunteers. I got overwhelmed. So a year into it, I actually went to our employee assistance program and I was like, kind of need some assistance here. I think I need somebody to chat with. And so again, find a friend. If it's a paid friend, free friend, whatever it is, a phone a friend, I don't know, whatever friend you can find. Find somebody to talk to. Maybe it's your dog, but anyway, but find somebody. And I only met with her for like 4 or 5 times. But one of the questions that still haunts me, and I'm still processing a little bit today, is this question: what does success look like to you? So I'm going to leave that for you. And maybe that was just a question for me, but Carrie kind of resonated a little bit with it as well. And perhaps that resonates with you. I don't know. But what does that look like? And are you afraid you'll never get there? Are you conflicted? Do you even know what that looks like? I know sometimes I just churn and work and keep going because I think I know what it is. But then I'm like, how defined have I created my success? And if I actually will define my success, then I'll know when I've gotten to that stage and that step. Now it's going to change, right? Goals change, life changes, and maybe whatever happens and things blow up and you can't get that goal again, but you'll change it. What's your success look like? So just thinking about that as well.
Is there anyone that wants to share what success looks like to them?
I still am working on my definition. So if you don't have one, but if you do, please share.
I reference that just because, as Rose is saying, work-life balance. There's so many of us that think, and definitely myself included, when we get to this milestone, everything will be perfect. When we lose the 10 pounds, when we get that job title, when we get that house, that car, when we have kids, when we get married, when we get divorced, I don't know, whatever that is, everything's going to be perfect. Like it's like magic. And you get there and then you think, oh, I still don't feel great. So you really have to think about what that success is and what is in your control to make that success happen and what's out of your control. So for me, a long time, and I'm still struggling with this, success was partly defined by what other people thought of me and was reflected in how I felt about myself. But that's not in my control. That I'm never going to be successful if that's my metric. So you have to look at yourself, your goals, your boundaries, whatever you want to use as your metric that you can control. And we'll be speaking a little bit about that right here. Being at peace with choices, that's a wonderful one. We can't change and have everything be perfect, but we can talk about, I want to be the best person for Angela, for Lisa, for all of you out there to support you so that when I need the help, you can support me. We've had a lot of changes at our work recently, a lot of shifting in job responsibilities, titles, different things. And, it could be very easy for me to go, oh, that good friend of mine, she got this job. I want that job. But you have to choose to look at it as a rising tide raises all of us. So if one woman can get that job, can get that executive level leadership opportunity, then why can't other ones of us get that? And that person in the room can advocate for the other people behind the scenes. So you have to think about your thoughts, about what you're putting out there, about your words. It all matters. And you can't control what the other people are saying, what the other people are thinking, but you can support one another. And that's what this community is here for. Alive has been really wonderful in giving us that space to talk about what's going on that a lot of people don't understand. So, when we talk about our thoughts and how we're feeling about our jobs, Rebecca or Angela or Gretchen can empathize with you, whereas not a lot of other people can. So this whole in my control, out of my control visual is a great way to remind us, yes, I've got to have gratitude for these things. I can't expect these things to change because they're not in my control.
Absolutely. All right, are we ready? We're going to choose your own adventure. Ready to roll. So this is something that we started putting together. And we know that sometimes you're at a low energy point, right? Some of us on that chart, we had the low battery and high battery. So some of us are at that low energy. So we've broken up low energy into what you can do to help yourself in your career and life. I think these things will just help you in general. And then what you can do for others and what others can do for you. So this slide is talking about if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have a lot of energy, but what can I do? You can keep a kudos folder, create an email folder or a paper folder or whatever kind of folder or both that you need, and put, like, when a volunteer sends you a quote or a thank you or wow, you did great, keep those, print them, post them. I actually have learned, I send them to my boss and I just forward it on and go, oh, look at this nice comment from a volunteer. Hey boss, pay attention. Look, it's good stuff. That's easy, send an email. Take your vacation time. Please take your vacation time and don't look at email. I'm guilty. I say this and I do it. So don't do it. Don't do what I say. I mean, do what I say, not what I do. But I am getting better. But it can be a struggle. So work on that. Join your local AVA or another organization alive. And there's lots of groups out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, all over, podcasts. So I've seen a couple pop up in the chat too, that are in there. So great stuff. And if you have to, just make your own little and the volunteers poster, whatever that might look like to you. So now here's some things that you might have to ask somebody else to do for you, or if they've been to this presentation, they'll know, right? They can help you. So what you can do for others, right? So this is low energy, but it's something you can do for other folks. So amplification buddy. Has anybody heard of that? Amplification buddy? You're going to amplify. So it's amplifying their message and who they are. So it's like when Carrie posted about this talk, I liked the post. Or when Nicole R. Smith does something, then I'm like, hey, Nicole R. Smith, I love that too. And I share hers. Or I see a great podcast or a little video clip from Dana Littman. I'm like, hey, Dana, love that, post it. Or Corinna, or I'm leaving people out, so I'm sorry, right? That's really dangerous to go down that road. Woo. But anyway, I love y'all. But you know what I mean? Like, you're going to start commenting and liking and posting and even just putting things about other volunteer leaders or your own volunteers or whatever it is. Start amplifying their message as well and be like, hey, this was so great. Look at what this person did. You're complimenting them. You're promoting them as well. So that's a great thing that you can do for other people. Something that I started was a Wow, I See Good card internally. It's a piece of paper that I have at some of the desks around and where the volunteers are, and they fill those out. And I've gotten stories about blood donors have given compliments to volunteers or to staff. Volunteers have given compliments to each other, and then I get those and I post those and I send them out to all the volunteers or the staff appropriately, different things like that. It's an electronic version as well, so you can put that out there for people to fill out. Social posts, like and comment. I think I've talked about that. Say thank you to people. Thank you for this, thank you for that. Thank you is a great word. Just check in with your colleagues. Hey, I haven't heard or seen you for a while. How are you? You know, what's going on? Maybe it's a text, maybe it's an email, whatever it is, message. Just keep in touch with your colleagues. All right, so again, we're low energy times. Now this is where others can do for you. And maybe you need to help or ask them for help and say, hey, could you help me out? Could you do this amplification? And it's Lindsay at Lindsay Lathrop that you'll see this link, and she talks about that, your career advancement. So they can send an email to you. They can call and text you. They can touch base how you are doing. So that I appreciate about our Delaware peeps. Like, we're a pretty close-knit group, and if somebody hasn't been heard from for a while, it's like, hey, how you doing? You know, and figuring out that accountability and helping each other learn and grow and just what others can do for you. All right, so any ideas what you can do? So, or what others can do for you, or what you can do for others that are kind of a low energy. So drop those in the chat and we'll keep going because we have medium energy and high energy upcoming. So Carrie's going to talk about our medium energy.
Mentoring, that's an awesome one. That's a little higher energy though, at least
You'll see it come up.
my personality. So that one's coming. But so medium energy, when you're like, okay, I can take on the day a little bit more than I could yesterday. That's when you have that medium energy feeling where you're like, I can do a little bit more. So tracking, writing what you're doing weekly. Again, we have Chandler Bing jobs. Nobody knows what we do. So by writing to your boss and saying, these are all the projects that I am doing right now. These are all the kudos that I have received, and putting those in your monthly report. Those are all great ways for people to go, oh, okay. And really, it's just cutting and pasting from a file in your Outlook or on your desktop. Data collection. Again, we were talking about that earlier. If any of you have the Better Impact software, that's what we have. So I have a little favoritism there, but we're able to collect data. So every month in my monthly report, I put how many baby hats were made and donated, how many blankets, how many other small items, how many, oh my gosh, even like pillowcases and different things, so that those higher ups can say, oh, we have volunteers really making an impact in our patient care services. Look for the things that it's just a thing I do. Again, this may go back to saying no for you. So if just the thing that you do is planning an office party, or, you know, kind of keeping everybody engaged in your certain area or your building, you know, think about those things and see if there's some that you can give to somebody else to kind of combine that medium energy time with building on that so that you can move forward. Asking your boss for feedback on what you do well and also what you can improve. One of the things that I heard that I've started doing is when I'm asking for that feedback, or they give me a positive feedback, well, do you have any concerns about my progress so far? What can I do to improve in another area to show that you're actively engaged? Yeah, the weekly check-in with your supervisor, just to be like, hey, here's 10 minutes of what I'm doing, how this week's been going, the wins, the challenges. Those are all great ways to keep people engaged. Building our skill set in free certificate programs. If you Google free certificate programs, Yale, Harvard, lots of Ivy League schools have these free, I think they're about 5-week to 6-month programs that you can do online for free. So if you have a work from home day, or if your schedule is light one day, you can go on there and get started in some topic that is of interest to you that maybe it doesn't go with volunteer services, but goes with your goal for long-term. Joining that leadership in the local AVA or another org for support. I can't speak enough about this, and not only just because I feel like I've been on the DAVA board forever with Angela, but it's those people that are going to get you through those hard times. Getting on committees and teams that feed your soul. For example, I'm volunteer services, but I'm involved in community outreach and food insecurity initiatives in my hospital because those are something that are very important to me. Yep, Heather, the Harvard has a new Ideas for Nonprofit Leaders free course, so please check that out. Yale has a happiness course also on there that is the most watched course, I think, in American classes. So you really want to check that one out too if you're talking about one of your goals is being happy and content and grateful. And of course, look for a mentor. A lot of us are in that 11+ year level of volunteer engagement and mentoring and management. But I tell you what, I learn from Angela and so many others of you on a daily basis. So getting that mentor that you can check in, how should I approach this problem? How should I view this challenge? What should I say to my boss to get this across? The science of well-being. Thank you, Heather. I like you. You're a good Googler. Those are all things that we can do to improve ourselves and improve our visibility within our organizations. Working in a library. A lot of us, sorry, it's like squirrel in my head sometimes, but a lot of us are looked at, like if we go back to those many hats, as almost an invisible cloak too, to use that same kind of, oh my gosh, I am losing it today.
It's okay.
Anyway.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
I'm not.
See, we're all
I'm
human.
losing it, but it's okay. So you want to go back to those skills building, to those committees that you're passionate about, to get your face out there, to get people to realize that volunteer services isn't just you with your feet up on the desk or patting someone on the back or making someone feel good. You're an active member of your organization. So what you can do for others, and I think these are some of my favorite ways to show my appreciation for my colleagues. So writing a physical note, not only to your colleague to say, hey, good job on doing this, or I saw you do that, that was really appreciated, but writing to their supervisors and letting their supervisors know what your colleague is doing, because it's almost like a marriage. You know, if you tell your spouse to do something, you got a 50-50 shot of them listening. But if their friend tells them to do the exact same thing, it's much more well received. So having someone from outside the company email, or better yet, mail your colleague's boss a letter saying, I noticed that Angela has done this over the last 3 years. She's met these goals. She has done this for our DAVA association. That's that recognition that makes a boss go, okay, she's not just over there in the corner making people smile. Writing a social post about a colleague and something that they did. LinkedIn is a really, really great place for this. So you'll see Angela and I, if you follow us on LinkedIn, our information will be at the very end, building each other up, saying, hey, I can't wait to do this with you. Or here's a really great book that you should read based on that conversation we had a few weeks ago. Collaborate with a colleague on a presentation, an article, or another type of project. So this is a great example. Alive is always looking for presenters, and a couple of you, Heather, some others, look like you could do a really good job at this. So think about a presentation topic that speaks to you that you think other volunteer managers would want to be involved in. Another type of project, for example, if anyone's heard of the Barrel Institute, I presented with a colleague on that about bringing volunteers back from their coronacations. And afterwards we were talking, we're like, man, you know, Volunteer Management Month is coming up. We really should do something to show the impact volunteers had during COVID. And so we got together and we ran some reports and did some surveys and put together a pretty comprehensive list of what Barrel volunteer members had done during COVID and the impact their volunteers had made, and sent that to our CEOs during Volunteer Management Month. So you could show, okay, yes, they weren't in the buildings a lot of that time, but this is what they accomplished. So again, those are some of those medium energy projects, tasks, 5-minute notes that will make a difference in the lives of not only your colleagues, but also yourself, because you'll get that as our volunteers do, that little hit of feel good that keeps you going and might boost you to high energy. So again, what others can do for you, set up a group like we have right here to connect, discuss topics. If you have a LinkedIn profile, please share it in the chat so we can all like and talk to each other, and again, have a community offline there. Nicole R. Smith is great on there talking about the podcast that she does and some of the other initiatives and books. Do lunch together. I literally had a virtual lunch with a colleague on Friday. She was eating at her desk. I was eating at my desk. It's a little sad when you say it aloud, but we were catching up and talking about what was going on at our respective hospitals. So again, that's a quick and easy way to support someone, but also it supports you as well. Again, look for the things of others. That's just a thing they do. You see that better than anybody else. What I think of is just, oh, that's nothing. That's just, Angela may see it as more important than what I do. So highlight those things that someone does just because they're a good person, or just because they want to make their volunteers happy, or because it's the right thing to do. All of those are things that you can highlight and encourage others. And then of course, collaborate with a presentation, article, or another type of project, as I mentioned before. I love everybody putting in their LinkedIn profiles so we can have a community on there. And add your ideas in the chat for what others can do for you, or medium energy tasks that you think other people would enjoy as well. And heck, put them on LinkedIn and tag us as well.
Awesome. All right. So some of you are at the higher end of your battery. Woo, woo, you are charged and ready to go, whether that's coffee, chocolate, or just you had good energy, got good sleep, right? So these are some things that you can do for you. Send a list to your boss if you're tracking and writing what you do weekly. Carrie talked about that a little bit, but these are things that you can definitely. Data collection. And I'm not a big numbers person, pretty upfront and honest about this, but details are like not my big thing. I kind of like this. I like people. I like big ideas, right? So I found a volunteer to help me. Woohoo! And so I have a volunteer that will pull information out of Better Impact and put it into SharePoint for me, and Excel spreadsheets. And so I can just pull those right off and I didn't have to do anything, right? I can just pull those out. So that's another thing. If you're not a big data person, because that was kind of like my thing. I was like, oh, I don't like numbers. Find somebody else who is. They're fabulous. They love it. I don't, but they love it. So great, get them in there. Be willing to send out anonymous surveys. I haven't done this yet, but I would love to. And it's like a 360 review. So this would take a little bit more energy and some wherewithal, but talk to your boss about that. Is there a way that you could do this 360? If you've never done it, it's like you get feedback from your colleagues, from your boss, you fill it out yourself, and then you can compile all of that together and see, like, are people seeing you the same way that you see you? What's the impact that you're making? And it might be right on track with what you think, and maybe it's not. And that 360 is going to be able to help you pull that together and find out. Create a job handbook for all you do. Do you all have like the volunteer office like manual done for yourself? I don't. I have one that started. It's not really great and pretty, but I did start one. So I have, I've been in this role for 4.5 years, started from scratch basically. So some of it's kind of evolved, right? And I think most jobs do that. But if you don't have one, start one today. And if you can't do it, again, find a volunteer who likes to put together manuals and likes to put together instructions and things like that. But put a job aid together for yourself and or whoever the next person is, whether that's today or tomorrow. Hopefully it's not today or tomorrow, but you know, if it's like, you know, 10 years from now, whatever, at least you're going to be planning, and it shows all the things that you do, right? You can show that to your boss one day and go, hey, look, this is all the stuff that I have to do. Blocking time. And Toby Johnson was another one that I missed to mention, but Toby has a great podcast and she was talking about burnout. It's in our resource list that you'll see later. And she was talking about blocking time. So block your time. If you don't know what that is, take a look at it. We can ask questions. We can talk more about that later. But blocking time is great. Join and then help lead national, like the Alive or another organization. I met Rebecca through joining Alive and leading the healthcare COP for a while, and community of practice. COP is a community of practice. So get involved. That's where you're going to meet the movers and the shakers and I would say when I was like a beginner person, I was like, oh my gosh, those are the cool people, you know, and they're just regular people, really. And so I mean, there's some that are still pretty high on my list, but we're all just regular people, right? And so don't think that they're like anybody better than you or less than you. We're just in this adventure. We're on a path. We're in a journey. And so maybe somebody has more experience than you, then great. Tag along, stick to them and learn from them. That's that's the best thing to do. So do that. With more energy, be a mentor. Alive has a great mentorship program. So the next time that comes around, jump into that, be a mentor. I was actually was I a mentor and a mentee at the same time? Anyway, not necessarily recommended, but but if you have the time, go for it, or at least be one or the other, somehow get involved. It's huge. All right, what you can do for others. Carrie did this for me, and I just love this. She has written a letter to my boss about me. I thought that was like the most amazing thing in the world. It was not something I would have thought of. And she did that even like a year ago, even before this presentation was even a thought. And so to her, maybe that's not a big deal, but I like almost makes me cry because I was like, oh my gosh, like Carrie took the time to sit and put together a letter for me. And I was like, oh, that's just amazing. So if you do that for another colleague, whether that's within your organization, outside of your organization, whatever it is, it's going to mean so much to somebody. Nominate. We have the awards, right? So those awards will be coming up again. There's lots of awards out there. We have that on the resource list that you'll get. The Jefferson's Awards, the Burrell Awards, of course, the Alive Awards, the Impact Awards, all of those. Nominate your friends, your colleagues, people that you don't even know, but you admire from a distance. Like all of those things help other folks. And it helps those awards because the more interest, the more people, the more energy there is towards that, the more successful it is. And then I love this part because this is what I'm learning about myself, is that I love collaborating with others on these presentations. So Paula, Ellen and I did one together, and yay, Paula, thank you for being willing to kind of launch me on this like path. And then I said, hey, Carrie, would you do this with me? And she's been willing, and it's been just fabulous. I learned so much. And hopefully they've had fun with it, and it's a great time. So collaborate with other people, whether it's an article, maybe you like to write, maybe you like to present like this, maybe you don't even know what you like. Try it. You won't know till you try it. And I just really, really encourage you to do that. Just try something. So love that. All right. High energy, what others can do for you. They can fill out those 360 reviews. They can nominate you for awards. They can highlight you in podcasts, the social posts or other means, whatever that is. Liking, sharing, all those things that we talked about on media. Collaborate with your colleagues on presentations. Again, work with, if somebody asks you to collaborate, do it. Just do it. Go for it. And again, be a mentor. These are things that you can do. All right, and what others can do for you. All right, what are some other ideas that you have in the chat? So put that in there. All right, so kind of goes with this whole mentorship that we're talking about. We have sponsors versus mentors. And sometimes a sponsor is somebody who's gonna help you more career-wise. A mentor, maybe they're gonna be more that like connection of being a friend and helping you in that not being alone. Sponsors are going to be maybe more task oriented. Mentors can be too, they can give tips and advice. That mentors, maybe they're going to ask you more questions and make you think about things. So there's different roles that you can play, and the same person maybe plays the same role or maybe not. But again, look for people that you need in your life to move you forward as well, that will help you move forward. So another thing that I just love about what Dana Litwin has said, and this was, I don't know how many years ago, but there was sort of like, oh, we all like wrangle and herd cats comment, right? And she stopped that, and I'm so grateful because it's true. What we say counts, and what we say matters. I have tried to be a lot more cognizant and careful about what I say about volunteers, to volunteers, and to the staff. And so I'm viewing myself now as an orchestra director, right? I'm the maestro of the orchestra. We need to, as professionals in this world, really, volunteerism, is we're making sure that this group of people's over here and this group of people's over here, that there's actually people there in this section, and are the drums too loud, or are they just on time? Or, is this group of folks doing what they need to do? Are they being all caring and wonderful, or are they task oriented, or are they whatever. Like, we're really that maestro, and we're sort of the in between, the audience-ish of some things, which is like our staff and or the people that are receiving things that are goods or services. So think about yourself as a maestro. I challenge you to think about that. Carrie, we have a resource group, a resource page.
So Angela and I are always trying to improve ourselves, trying to share different books, podcasts, YouTube videos that have been helpful for ourselves with each other. So again, if you're following us or will follow us on LinkedIn, we share a lot of those there. But we put most of those that we could think of in this resources for you section. So you can revisit, so you can keep thinking about those goals, those small little gains that you want to have every day, where your energy level is. Again, if it's small, you might just be like, let me look at this short video or something like that. Gretchen just put the resources link in the chat box as well. So you can kind of gauge where you're feeling, where you are mentally that day. Check out a resource, see what sparks your interest, what speaks to you, so that you can move yourself forward, whether that be in your job, in your life, and give you that little burst of energy to move forward.
All right, Carrie.
So please be honest with us. This is kind of our 360 review right now. Was this presentation applicable to you? Did it speak to you? Or maybe, I mean, a couple of the things were good, or it's just not where you are on the journey, and that's okay. So please vote right now.
We're getting a lot of responses in. People are definitely voting. And I'll just
All
say
right.
quickly as a reminder, we don't send out the recording and the slide deck to everybody, but it'll be available on the Alive members only side. And if you've got any questions, just let me know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results.
Great. Yay. Okay, good. And for you, that wherever you're not on your journey, we understand that too. Everybody's on a different journey, and that's a great thing too. So we hope that something will come and you can share this with somebody else who may need it, right? So that's always a good thing too. So in the chat, go ahead and what is there one thing I talked about not being overwhelmed, right? So is there one thing, kind of thinking about, you know, all the little things that you're like, oh my gosh, whatever. Is there one thing that you want to pull out and remember and or do out of this, and just add those into the chat? So as you're doing that, we also have homework. Homework, surprise, it's a pop quiz. So we have homework. But it's partly what I just said. So you are going to write down on a piece of paper. You don't have to put it in the chat. You can put it in the chat, but you don't have to. But write it down somewhere, right? You're going to write down one thing that fuels your soul. What is something that fuels your soul? And if you need to think about this later, just take a screenshot of these questions, right? So what is it that fuels your soul? What do you think is going to make an impact in your job or career? Is there anything that you can let go of? What's one thing that maybe you can let go of? And then defining success and what that looks like to you and for what you are in right now. So Carrie talked about LinkedIn. We would love for you to connect with us, and we encourage you to update your own. So if it has been a while, look at your own LinkedIn profile and just update something. Again, you don't have to overhaul the whole thing unless you have a lot of time and energy and you're like, yeah, oh my gosh, I got the time. This is the space. I'm going to do it. Go for it. You know, do as much as you can or not. So update that. Maybe something from today, maybe not, something else that you've seen, a book or whatever. If you want, and this was Carrie had seen this in another presentation, so we're stealing it from them. If you want Carrie and or I to follow up with you to see how you're doing 30 days from today, connect with us on LinkedIn and say, hey, follow up with me in 30 days, and we will. So just let us know. So with that, another thing that I just want to remember, or just to remind you as we go on this, as we're heading to the end, is a drip campaign, right? So water drips, 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 drips. And on a rock, it looks really hard. But if you give it enough time, I like to be persistent enough that things will happen, right? So keep dripping the messages, keep dripping your data, keep dripping your kindness, keep dripping all of these wonderful things. And as you get frustrated sometimes because it feels like a brick wall, lean on your friends, your colleagues, us, whomever you need to, and join those groups and help make the world a better place, because that's what we're doing. And so we really encourage you to just keep doing what you're doing. And when you get tired and discouraged, just remember you're dripping, right? One drip, one drip. And you have friends, there's colleagues, there's support. You are not alone. So I did ask for some feedback from a couple of people, and they said, one of the things you have is persistence. I'm like, yeah, that stubborn personality just comes out sometimes. So anyway, it can be persistence, can be a good thing in a good way, right? So I encourage you to do that. So we want you to choose your own adventure, and what is this going to look like for you? And we're really excited to find out. So here's our contact information. We would love to hear from you. Let us know. Carrie, any parting thoughts?
I'm reading the comments, and I'm sorry, I forget who just said it, but someone said that I guess maybe the Urban Dictionary definition for drip campaign is immense swag, which I am not that cool. So I think that is just awesome that is something that is out there. I love that, Angie. If you're the one that put that out there, I think that's hilarious. So that's gonna stay with me. So I love it. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We love doing these kinds of presentations with you guys, getting to see everyone, talk to everybody across the nation through initiatives such as this. And again, if there's anything we can do for you, or anything that you think of that we can do to improve our presentations, please let us know. I'm always up for some constructive criticism and feedback. So thank you so much for giving of your valuable time and energy to us today.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I ditto all of that. So again, LinkedIn, connect with us and let us know on LinkedIn if you want us to follow up with you. We'd love it. And Gretchen and Rebecca, any questions or anything else you want us to follow up with?
Great. We're right at time. I'm just going to say a couple of announcements, and as folks are going, the next Alive Academy is February 16th, Disruption to Impact, and that's with Beth Steinhorn. So please, yeah, she's so good. So please check that out. All of the upcoming events for Alive are on the calendar, including COPs. So if you're not currently engaged with a community of practice, they're wonderful opportunities to connect with your peers. So putting into practice what Angela and Carrie have talked about today and building up that network in a COP, please check that out. There's 17 different COPs available through Alive. And your newsletter will be around mid-month, so please check that out. If you're not an Alive member, we would love for you to join Alive. So again, Gretchen will be in touch, but here are our annual rates and how you can join. And then if you want to contact Alive, see contact info here. So thank you all again. Angela, Carrie, wonderful presentation. I love how joyful it was. It brought me joy to watch you all present. And I also loved how a lot of what you talked about, especially for low energy, is doing service to others, sending a note to others, doing things to lift others up, and that lifts ourselves up too. And it's just a great way to practice what we preach. So thank you so much. And thank you all for all that you do. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.